Welcome, everyone. This is the 2025 Austrian Open, the Predator Austrian Open, and what a match we have for you here in this round. And Mark BIJSTERBOSCH and Joshua FILLER. Opening game, Joshua broke the balls and broke dry, I believe. Mark is in a nice position to run these out. All the balls are open. This 4, 5, 6. Little 2 rails forward for the save. Ball should land up perfect for a straight-in shot on the 8 and perfect for the 9. A couple of technical difficulties here if you're listening to me now.
Mark did have a break of serve in one of Josh's first 2 breaks, so he'll be taking that as a positive heading into his next 2 breaks here.
Okay, this is a winner's qualification match, by the way. The winner here is qualified for the last 32. And we'll be moving on to a race to 11 and single elimination. The loser, of course, if you're going to lose a match, this is the one to lose because it's just one more match and you get back into the final 32. Instead of having sometimes play 2 more matches. Mark to break 2 racks.
Yeah, 2 balls down here, but 1 short of the 3-point rule. So Filler going to have the first chance at this rack. Looks like defense is pretty sharp in the side with the 3. Could actually play a 2-way though, or trying to pocket the 3 and getting the cue ball in a pretty safe area down near the bottom right. Thought better of it. Went all out safe. Nicely done. Too long to jump here for Mark. Mark is really good with the jump cue. I will note that as far as overall play in this match. Very talented player. Probably coming in as the number 2 player out of the Netherlands. Been a partner with Niels Fayen many times in the World Cup of Pool.
He keeps good company in that respect.
Nice jump from Filler. Be a tester on the 4. Can stun the cue ball to the left and play the 5 in the right middle. Nicely played. Slightly too little angle going to the right. Worst case, should be okay to draw straight back and play the 6 in the same pocket. Look for this match should be fast and furious offense here. Expect a few break-and runs. Minimal safes and then offense. Filler known for his quick style, but Mark's also a fast player.
And as expected, every trip to the table for Josh Filler is usually filled with success. Took over from Mark on that
2-1 for Filler now. Going into the second of Mark's breaks. Illegal on the last one, so he'll be taking note of that, possibly putting a little more speed into this. One ball down, 5 ball down as well. Pardon me, that was the 7 going into the corner there. Good break from Mark. Two's very available on the side. He does have pass that can come back up table towards the 3. If he wants to take the tougher pocketing on the 2, that could work. Making the position a little easier. Seems confident on what he's going to do with the 3, just thinking about the 4 now.
Well, looks like he found his way to the good position on the 3 to get to the 4. Mark defeated Martin Aldhart from Germany 9-1, and then he defeated Paul Biches-Bardo from France 9-5. And thus
yeah, Mark was having a look at this at the beginning of the rack. He does believe the 4 passes, I think. There is a combo option. He's over top of the 8, though, so everything made a lot tougher here. Especially if he's trying to get back to the 5, pocketing the 4 directly. So I think he might be resigned to playing the combo. Looks like he's eyeing it up there.
As I look at the other past matches, he also defeated Roberto Bartol 9-5. So he's got 2 9-5 matches and a 9-1 under his belt, and now he meets Filler.
Way he was cueing at it, almost looked like he was considering going for it. It's extremely thin in the corner. Looks like it's tough to slow the cue ball down as well. Taking his extension here, nothing straightforward. He likes the offense here, I think, George.
I think Joshua likes the offense all the time.
That's a good call, yeah.
You know, he might, he's looking to put it there. Okay. I was going to say he might play that 2 ways and try to stick that 9 behind the, bank it and stick the cue ball behind the 9 and have position on the 6. But he went safety all the way.
There. Yeah.
Yeah. He says, I'm not taking any chances. I'll play safe all day long.
Nice shot. He was expecting to run thicker into the 5 there. Stunned off the angle just slightly. Tough spot now. The 5 does bank past the 6. Typically you wouldn't be looking at banking this ball, but the way the balls are laying, I think he might consider it. Small 2-way element of the 5 getting behind the 6 if it doesn't go. Here it comes. Nice shot. How's the cue ball? Not even close to good. That was the 2-way part of it, and that's always the conundrum when you're playing those 2-way shots. Like, what if the ball goes in? Kind of a double negative, but smart shot. It was tough to play safe from there. Didn't expect to catch the 6 on the way in either. He knew it was a possibility, but he was trying to play it straight in.
And that's going to leave a shot. Funny thing about Joshua, he defeats Jobias Hoyce from Germany 9-4. Then he defeats Lazar Kostic 9-2. And poor Lazar was defeated by Pia Filler. I'm sorry, he defeated Pia Filler, so he wreaked revenge on Lazar. So, as you mentioned earlier, Filler is just dominating his matches. 9-4, 9-2. I can't find his opening match though.
Yeah, I mean, he's just at the upper echelon of world-class players, and he's shown it in any tournament he's gone in. Just dominating performances. And he's opened up an early lead here, and he'll be back on his 2 breaks for the next 2. So, bit of worrying signs for Mark in the first 4 games here. Had a pretty thick wrap on the back of his cue there, George. I don't know if you caught that or not, but not the
Has he been spending time with Earl
wrap.
Strickland?
Not as bad as Earl, but it was a layer above the cue. Playing with all Predator equipment for years now. Predator sponsored player. Barely legal, but he's going to be okay. No good on the 2. Has the left edge. Has to be aware of the double kiss possibility on coming off the long rail with the 2.
You know, being the banker he is, he should be able to get by this. If he could beat that kiss, he might even pocket this ball. No,
Yeah,
he's
he
just
knows
playing
how to
safe.
avoid
He
those
made sure to
kisses.
beat the kiss. Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
That was a very, very good job of avoiding it. That kiss is almost, you're going to get it 95% of the time.
Yeah, spun the cue ball with a bit of left to avoid it, get the cue ball moving more left. So he's left the smallest right edge here. Not a lot happening off the right edge. Biggest problem is even if he does contact the right edge, the cue ball's kind of running into the 8. He's going to try some kind of outside the box jump here. Jump kick, maybe?
He's going to, yeah.
Looks like it.
He's going to kick it. He's going to kick it, jump kick it. It's about all he really has. Unless he really massays the ball. It's a big massé to get to it around the 6. It was close.
Try, but no good.
And it was a very difficult shot. These Predator arc tables that they're playing on are, they do come with a ball return, but here they use them with the drop pockets. Not to be seen yet in the US, but used quite a bit now in Europe, and I'm not sure if they use them in Asia yet.
Yeah, I can't wait for these
Quite
tables to come over. And yeah, go ahead.
Don't they look like they play great? I mean, I've commentated a couple of matches or actually tournaments now with these tables, and they just seem to play great. You watch the players being very accurate with their kicks. They're always close. I don't see any roll-offs. Everything about them just plays so nice.
Yeah, and they're very reasonably priced too. My sponsor in Toronto is going to be a dealer for these new arc tables, and they quoted me the price, and I was pleasantly surprised. In the upper mid-level range, but for it's under the most expensive tables in the world, and definitely the quality is right up there.
If I remember correctly, it's a 3-piece slate. Makes them easy for home use to put on second stories and basements where you don't have to, you know, move that whole table in a cart.
Choice of draw or follow here. I think he'll favor the follow. A little less speed involved with the follow. He's going to draw it, move the cue ball less. So looking to extend his lead now, and he'll be breaking in rack number 6. Well, straight here, George.
I think he can. Well, I figure to draw, or he can follow this ball 2 rails. A little careful. Should be right of the side pocket, so should be in good shape here.
Whoa, there's a roll.
Well, you know something, Eric. As I was saying, he can follow. I was thinking, with that kind of angle that he had, it's very common or a high rate to hit the corner of the pocket with the cue ball, and that's exactly where he was headed with it. And actually missed the 8, but the follow provided him with a second chance and a win. 4-1, 4 straight games after losing his opening break. Joshua at 858 Fargo, number 1 in the world. See? Mark's been around for quite some time from the Netherlands. I've seen him over in the U.S. many times. A good, solid player. It's always tough to beat.
Missed the corner ball and the 1 ball there. Might have been a little thick on the cut angle. A little perplexed by it. Let's see how thick he was here. A little on the thick side. Still would have expected to make one of the two, but didn't. So chance for Mark here. Nice shot. Gonna be forced to take angle on the 3, but the cue ball's moving the proper way. Ideally, if he can hold it, no rails, that'd be the simpler play, but having a look here, looks like he's going to have to go over to the side rail. It's kind of funny, you're cutting this ball to the left, so you're going to impart a bit of right spin on it. It's a little negative for the overall result on the 3. Could end up with too much angle. Trickier than it looks here.
Nice shot there. That's usually left out by many players, so they just don't make the cut. Mark is a 789 Fargo, which puts him at 96 of the top, out of the top 100 players in the world. So he has that going for him. Little safety. A vicious safety. That's his only avenue of hitting this ball, is that 1 rail kick.
Yeah, ideally he's going to try to hit it squarely here. Outside chance of pocketing the 3 in the bottom right, but ideally focusing on sticking the cue ball where the 3 is.
You know, it's funny, playing 10 ball, you would think this is a very good safety. Playing 9 ball, with some speed on this table, this 3 ball has a chance to, you know, I don't want to say fluke in, but reward him for a good hit. It's going to be a reward, I think. Nope, he's going to leave it for the side pocket. I thought he might get behind the 9 there.
Yeah, Mark has a little too much angle going to the right here. Only place he can land the cue ball is around where he's standing. Forced to take some distance. Oh, does one hit 6?
Did not want to do that.
Anxiously coming over, seeing if he has the pocketing angle on the 4. Looks like he barely doesn't. You could throw it in with some right spin, but that's extremely tough over this distance. We're going to go for the half jump here, I think. Great camera work from our team down in Austria. Nice shot. There was enough room.
Barely.
So, yeah, so big shot coming up for Mark now.
Another shot just like the last one, just barely enough room. It's going to look like a split hit, but he's going to make a good hit here. There's enough room away from the 6.
Just thinking about how the 6 can possibly play off the cue ball. It's going to go over to the left long rail. I think I'd favor hitting it with a little more speed and bring it right off the long rail. Nice shot. It's going to be available to the top left. Just barely. We've heard that adage, it's a game of inches, and it's coming up 3 shots in a row here.
It really has. The safety is as easy as the make, and neither one is easy or straightforward.
Yeah, must just not quite
And
had
that's
enough of
what
the
he
pocket
chose.
there. Not much for kick safe for Filler here. Only 3 balls left on the table. He's going to be possibly looking at getting at this ball offensively somehow. The easiest hit is definitely off the right long rail, but the 6 isn't really playing in any pockets off that kick. He's going to try to make this one. He's left it up. So a couple good saves from Mark.
Well, Joshua could have left it easier, but this is easy enough for Mark, I believe. Still a very missable shot, but
yeah, and
I don't think it's going to be missable for this guy. Yeah.
Good shot. Straight enough to hold here. So, coming back to within 2 games now. Back into his 2 breaks. Mark was illegal on one of his last 2. Not for a lack of power. So maybe just look for him to power up a little more. Try to guarantee that 3-point rule.
For those of you wondering as you watch him rack the balls, there's no template and there's no rack. The table has been I guess you might say pounded. And there's little divots in the cloth, just like a template would work. And they rack very nicely, and players having a lot of success with this type of a rack. They control the balls well. They're predictable, and you don't see too many dry breaks. The 9 ball is on the
there
spot.
from Mark. Yeah, 9 on the spot, so they're cutting the cue ball over to the same rail they're breaking from. Perfectly hit there from Mark. 8's blocking the most obvious pocket for the 3, so he's going to have to try to come below it here. There is a 2-rail play over to the left side of the table, but I think he'll avoid it. Tough to really get enough angle with the cue ball going to the right to guarantee getting over to the left side. Just a little short. He was trying to come below it there. Got to lay up safe with the cue ball. The 3 ball in the middle of the short rail. But knowing a player like Filler, he's going to look for something a little more offensive as far as safe. Try to get him right behind another ball. Nice shot, pretty much frozen.
Very well done. I was looking at that and thinking, I wonder if he might even attempt a kind of a 2-way bank shot to the side. and using the 6-9 for blockers. But that was no reason to even gamble with that when he has a shot like this. Great decision. Well played.
Filler can hit the 3 off the short rail, but the 7's blocking a lot of that angle. Looks like he's resigned to playing this shot. Nothing's happening going up table.
Wow, this is going to be a very, very accurate shot.
Look at that. Hit the proper side of the 3. He's going to come far enough to not leave Mark. I think Mark's okay. It was a great try from Filler there.
Very accurately struck and 2 inches off of being a very, very good and effective shot. 2 to 3 inches harder, and he really likes what he just hit, what he just executed.
Connect the dots here for the rest of the rack for Mark.
Is Filler 27 or 28
World
now?
9-ball tour. Yeah, he's younger than 30. Just kind of a nonchalant style around the table. Moves quickly, gets down into his shot quickly.
This is shaping up to be a very tight match with these 2 break alternations. He closes the gap by 1 more.
Yeah, Filler was threatening to pull away early, but Mark did well to win these last 2 racks and looking to break here and have a break and run to level his score. Winner will advance to the final 32 redraw portion of the tournament. Loser will be 1 match away from that stage. Just crushing the break. Two balls ended up a little funny.
Let's see if he has the angle to come after that 2 ball and improve its location. No, he doesn't.
Yeah, the cue ball's running a little too far to the left here, pretty much into the top left corner pocket. He could actually play the 1 in the left corner pocket and draw around 2 rails, but that's a difficult shot. I'd be looking for other options.
Probably draw right into the 9 ball, which means he risks hitting the upper part of it, and that corner pocket comes into play. You should be able to miss it. Yeah.
Nice shot.
Nicely played.
Another small challenge on the position here. He'll be looking to get the cue ball near the 8. Could cinch the position and play the combo, but I think he'll favor shooting the 3 straight in here. Nicely played. It's got enough angle to come out off the right long rail. And looking like 4-all now. Two players that are definitely in form. Always nice to see two top players going at it. You know, and the question, George, too, is how does Josh get through so many matches when his opponents play so well? Well, I mean, the obvious answer is that maybe Filler just plays a little better. But how much better can you play? You know, it's like all the little things that, like when he was on that kick on the 3 there, he almost got Mark on the kick safe, which was an extremely tough kick safe. Didn't work out this rack, but sometimes it will. That's how good he is.
Exactly, Eric. You make great points there. It's just all the little details where he's just a better kicker, a better ball maker. His position play is excellent. At the top level of professional pool. He's aggressive. His intensity, just about everything about him.
I think,
and they're all
yeah,
little things, but they add up.
That's a good point there. Like he's able to be a little more aggressive in certain spots, and his percentage of being successful on those aggressive chances are a little higher. That's one thing that sets him apart.
And being left-handed, I think being left-handed has a lot to do with it.
I know you like the lefties. I know.
I've always thought that this game might have a tendency to favor left-handers, but that's my personal opinion. I've heard it made by other players and other people that seem to have a passion for pool. But there might be something to it with the left brain, right brain thing and the geometry of pool.
I agree.
Sure.
I agree that lefties tend to be a little bit more savant-like, and pool is so creative that you need that type of thinking.
Oh, he didn't miss that by a little. He missed it by about a quarter to a third of a diamond.
Yeah, tricky there. He was elevating, just decided to go all in with big speed. And even for players like Filler, that shot can be mishit.
Well, maybe it was like about 4 inches, which is a quarter diamond.
A bigger miss than he usually has.
Than usual, yeah. Most of the time when these players miss, they're hitting the corner of the pockets and they're rattling and they hang up. One of the things I've noticed when good players miss is they usually hang up the ball.
Cue ball's going to be running into the 5 here, but it looks like it's running into the right edge of the 5. You can put some right spin on the cue ball as well to promote it moving up the right side of the table. Just doesn't want to get into the 5 too thickly here. Nice shot. On the rail, unfortunately. But did well to avoid the 7 there. This is tougher than it looks. If the 9 wasn't there, he'd be stunning around 2 rails back towards the 4. Yeah.
Tough to get a position on this. Would you consider playing position to bank the 4 in the side?
Maybe.
That would be rather straightforward.
Yeah. I think
and
he's just going to accept more angle on the 4. Did reasonably well there. Was always going to come on a little heavier angle because he couldn't draw the cue ball deep enough to the left. Tester here for Mark, looking to take the lead. Nice shot. One rail out here, and the rest of the rack looking pretty good. So now Filler slightly back on his heels. Ball's kind of running into the 9 here. Got more angle than he would have wanted. He can draw out of it, but that's going to mean distance on the 8. See if he tries to avoid the 9 somehow going forward. Just missed it. Nice shot.
As far as the points for the Eurotour goes, Mark is at 44 in the ranking. He's only played 5 events out of the 7 that have been played so far. Josh is ranked number 10, playing 4 events. So it looks like Josh has had considerably more success since he has a lot more points to be at the top, at number 10 to number 44. And these players, those points are all important for these guys, but there's some money available too. We are sponsored by Predator, Simonis Cloth, Aramith Balls, Longoni Cues, Kamui, and some local sponsors. Of course, we're on Pro Billiard TV and YouTube. And there's a couple on the back of the billboard there, Alpina and Joe. Game number 10. Straight in on the 1 ball to the side pocket. No shot on the 2, or is there?
I don't know if the 4 ended up kicking the 9 in front of the cue ball. I think it did. Yep, it's going to be on a push here. 4 balls tied up with the 8, so going to be some moving in this rack. 4 might be available into the bottom right. Looks like Mark's going to play the 2 up table. I think he'll have to try to play the cue ball between the 5-7 if he tries that path with the 2. Smart shot, stunned around it. And these are the X Factor shots that we were talking about with Filler. I mean, you know, even a lot of world-class players are going to make this a lot of the time, but he's going to make it, put him in the 90 percentiles here. Shot with position. Beautiful.
Now a simple draw shot, and he's back in line, completely recovered from that jump shot. Well, it's not really recovered, taking advantage of the jump shot.
Yeah, the 5's blocked by the 7, so he's going to have to get over into the short side, but he'll be able to. Just play the cue ball around 2 rails, 2-3 rails towards the 5.
Always on the correct side of correct angle on the ball. For instance, right there, he's on the right side of the ball to go 2 rails to that positional angle that he needs.
You know, and he's such a good pocketer, too, that he's not afraid to leave himself some distance if he needs to. Like, that wasn't a real big deal in that scenario there, but some players would try to draw the cue ball back, hit the 3 with a little more speed, get closer to the 4. But you're going to make... I mean, you're going to make the 3 most of the time, regardless of how you play it. But if you play it at slower speed, you're upping your percentages there, and he's just not afraid to take the distance on the 4. Fairly left eye dominant. His only real quirk in the fundamentals is that he kind of tilts his head sideways over the cue. Textbook fundamentals, you'd be kind of looking straight down it. But if you look at the exact angle of his head, it's kind of angled to the right, which is a little uncommon.
Well, you know, Eric, if I could play like him, I wouldn't mind having a little, not a, you know, angle on my head in my
100%.
fundamentals.
100%, and it's just a good example of everything doesn't have to be textbook. You have to do what works for you in certain spots.
Mm-hmm. Well, you do a lot of teaching, and you teach along those lines, don't you? You don't change somebody's, you don't, you know, remap their whole fundamentals when you teach.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you want to be careful of, like, if no top player in the world is doing this quirky thing that you're doing, there's probably a reason why. You know, there's about 5 things that are commonly fundamental amongst top players, but other than that, there's at least 5 or 10 other things that are variable too, and you don't need to be afraid to. You don't need to be perfectly fundamental textbook fundamentals on every aspect of the game. Looks like he's short of the. It's going to be a little, not discrepancy, but a close call on whether the 2's good or not, and it barely is. He's going to stay at the table here. Any part of the object ball has to be touching the head string, and he just got there with the 2 ball. I think he'll choose to follow up the left long rail or the right long rail here. A little straight and a little too much angle to draw up the same rail, so a little bit in between here as far as getting perfect on the 4. I think he'll power up. See that this is when I've noticed this on these Predator tables. Anything with speed, you know, like these players make the pockets look big sometimes, but when you're playing into like down the rail like that with a lot of speed, see how well he hit that ball? He's just not going to accept it.
Well, I believe the pocket sizes on this Predator Arc table are 4 1/4. Let me run through there and make sure of that.
Look at this creative shot from Josh, carrying in the 9 and making the 3. So a bit of a break mid-match here. Yeah, I believe they've been set at 4 1/4 for since the beginning, even with the Apex tables, which is a fair size in my opinion. But at speed down the rail, they are tough.
Especially with the pro use of these tables and the fact that they almost always play on new cloth. So the pockets do play bigger than the size would indicate.
Right. Unlucky here for Mark, getting kicked in. Oh, did it go directly in? It did. Kind of an odd scratch there, catching a little too much draw. But advantage filler now. You know, and part of Filler's mystique too, with being such a consistent winner, is there's definitely a bit of an intimidation factor that goes through all players playing the #1 player, Fargo rated player in the world, and he continues to put pressure on the opponent too. So not just what he's doing on the table, but what he's doing on the table to kind of affect his opponent's mindset.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for the game in the chair. The mind game you play with yourself. You know, watching him float around with such ease, being such a natural, instinctive player, as you said, can be rather intimidating. And then coming up with some of the shots he comes up with, I mean, just sets you back a little bit.
Yeah. Going for the long extension here.
Mark's not set back. He's here to play.
Yeah, 2 breaks coming up for filler. So he'll have the match destiny in his hands.
He just comes through the ball so well, like that right there. A lot of players on that particular shot would be a little bit on the pokey side. He wasn't. He just drew back and came right through with such precision that it just looked good and unmissable.
Yeah, and he does it with a bit of a shorter backstroke too, which is tough to do.
Mm-hmm. About a 3-inch, possibly 3 to 4 inch backswing.
But just times the cue ball so well that he's, just times the cue ball so well that he's able to still fall through, and that's really where the high level stuff happens.
Good look at the rack and the Aramith balls. You see the Predator perimeter lighting reflecting off the balls. Both players are sponsored by Predator.
Could be illegal here, and it is. Hasn't left anything on the 2. I think Mark will take the option of shooting. Try to come up with something defensive here. Nicely played, playing the cue ball and the object ball safe. Pretty much done to perfection.
Another well played. Yeah, another well played safety by Mark. He's, you know, he gets that cue ball. Almost all the safeties he's been in tight behind the ball.
Filler's going to look to get behind this ball 2 rails. Looks like he might have to bend it. He does have to bend it with draw. Nice play.
And see, these are the, you know, the factors that we were talking about that make a difference with Josh's success. Things like that. Return shots on the safety, where he hits them with such a high degree of accuracy and gets results similar to this on most of his safeties or returns. Safety
and then
returns.
back in with an easy chance. Yeah, it's just so tough to beat.
And there's a good, I was going to say that was a good example, but no, that was Mark shooting. Trying to recover from Josh's return safe.
Women's event is getting underway today as well. 64 women in competition. They'll be playing down to a final 16 redraw. Pia Filler and Jasmine Ocean will be at the top of the class in the women's event. At least 10 or 15 others that'll be putting up a good fight. Didn't want to get it with an angle with the cue ball going to the left here, so he's a little upset, but he'll be fine.
Now that speaks to the amount of perfectionism that Josh plays to. I'd have been rather happy with that position and just come for the 7 just like he did.
Yeah.
But he was a few inches off and seemed to be unhappy with it. And here he is back in perfect line. Two balls from getting on the hill and closing out the match at 9.
Yeah, and he'll have a break to go here. And even if he doesn't get this one, he'll have the break in the hill game. Was illegal on his last break. Did break drive once, so not the typical break and run threat that he usually is, but still finding a way to get ahead in the scoreline here. Corner ball down, 1 ball down. Shot on the 2 and looking good for Josh. Cue ball's running in the 7 a little bit going forward, but he probably find a way to get around that. He might have to draw here and leave himself more distance. Look at this, he's going around 3 rails, George. He knew how big the 7 was there. Missed it. Chance for Mark.
Not an easy one, though. Does it go by the 7?
Think so. I think by his body language,
Yes,
he's up pretty quick. Oh, he
No,
tried the
it didn't.
combo and didn't get it.
Yeah.
It's 2 makeable combos for Mark. I don't know if you... About game 3, had a pretty makeable one. Missed it as well.
I'm just thinking which way would be a better way to play this ball. It's the same, almost the same kick from either side of the table, but the 7 comes into play if he kicks it towards it. Is there a safety factor to this one? No. Unless the 5 ball comes up and blocks it.
Yeah, second chance for Mark at this rack. Ooh. That's just lack of table time there. Filler taking up the offense for the last 3 games. A little too much angle here.
He's on that line that you hate to be on, an apparent scratch to either side. Gets it to the right, has to use English and draw as he's using.
That's 2 similar shots he's missed like that. It's kind of seeing the finish line here. Yeah, I got a roll here. Too far out in the middle of the table to jump. Gonna have to judge the kick with some left spin. Contact, but he's left a chance for filler, and I would expect him to take this. Third chance to win the rack here. He's worried about how the cue ball's moving again, kind of into the 9 going up table. Could elevate and try to get into the 4. Look at this shot.
Oh, wow.
Wow. So, Filler looking good to take the match down, and he'll be safely through to the final 32. Look for him to be a big threat near the end of the tournament this week. Still have 2 rounds of play coming up for you today in Austria. Some losers qualification matches, likely.
It's 9 ball for the match. There it is. Joshua Filler over Mark BIJSTERBOSCH. And he'll move into the winner's qualification. Mark will have to come back and win another